What's up, y'all? So I had a major malfunction in my last live. I had no sound the entire time. So I had a major malfunction in my last. Yep, I had a major malfunction. Did a whole 30 minutes with no sound. But that's what I get for going live. That's what we get for going live. The people that do this on a major scale, they don't do no live shows. Well, they try, and then something happened, and they regret it. So right now, I know what the problem was. So if you can hear me, say something. If you can hear me, if you can see me, give me a wave. Just show me some love, because I'm coming back, and I'm gonna go right through this. It was 10 things that people need to know about Bitcoin. And this was a show that was really important because the DCA challenge is one thing, but after all this is done, I want people to still invest. You know, I'm just doing it for a month to activate some new people, but overall, I still want people to be investing. And if you're gonna do that, you need to know some things that some people won't tell you and some people don't think that matter. And then when you're starting out on this journey, you learn something and you forget that other people haven't even got to that point yet. They ain't even, you know what I'm saying? So most people that are part of this, that are part of Bitcoin, some things they're gonna overlook because they think you just should know. Like a lot of people don't know that cash is not backed by anything anymore. People don't even think about that. They just figure, as long as I go to the store and I can spend it, it's good. But if you do your research on that, you'll know that money was always backed by something. And now it's not. It's just printed out of thin air. And money was supposed to represent something. Now it represents absolutely nothing. But I'm going to go back through these 10 things. I'm going to make this real quick. Shout out to everybody that's doubling back for a second time with me. I just did a whole 30 minutes and there was no sound. So if I don't have any sound, or if I got a runny nose and you can see it, you can say it in the comments. Because yesterday I did the show and I had some things going on, and it's a live show. So sometimes it's hard for me to see it because I'm trying to do 10 things at once. But let's get going. Welcome to the DCA challenge. Welcome to, if you haven't started investing, and what I'm doing here is getting you to the degree where you like, man, if this dude gonna keep showing up, let me just look into this. Then that's a good thing. That's a good thing. There was somebody named Da Vinci Jeremy, and I showed him a couple days ago, and he was telling people 12 years ago, invest, put $1 in. And a lot of people, most people didn't, but the people that did, some of them reached back out to him like, man, my whole family, generations are gonna thank you for this. And I'm not trying to be that person that y'all got to come back to and say nothing to, but I do want to do God's work. And part of that is what the Bible say. For lack of knowledge, my people perish. And a lot of the situations we're going through, if we were to seek knowledge, some of that wouldn't have to happen, because we had a financial part out the way. So without further ado, I'm gonna go into the first thing that people don't know but possibly need to know about Bitcoin. And number one is Bitcoin is not owned by anybody. And that sounds crazy, but that's the truth. It is a peer-to-peer network. It's not a company. It's no CEO. It's no board of directors. It's just open source protocol that anyone can use. They can upgrade it. They can contribute to it. And the rules are enforced by the network. So as long as you and I agree, and enough of us agree around the world, that's what it'll be. Now, it's 21 million, which I'm gonna get to that in a second, is 21 million Bitcoin that are open, that will be available to the public. Right now, 19.7 million have already been issued or invented or mined. And that sounds crazy, but the last Bitcoin won't be mined until 2140. We'll be gone. If you're watching this right now, we'll be gone by the time the last one is mined. And we'll get to that too. But that was done on purpose, and I'll tell you why. What's the second one? Second thing that people don't know and need to know about Bitcoin. The creator is still a mystery. Like the name that the person was using when they created this platform was Satoshi Nakamoto. Shout out to Satoshi Nakamoto, man. Whoever it is, whoever they are. You know, some people say it's the government. And I say to that would be unfortunate, but not really if this is going to be the platform that digital money goes to and you're a part of it. So if digital money was coming anyway, it's coming anyway. But if the government owned it and they set it up like this and they end up being Satoshi Nakamoto, what's the downside of that? It's only a downside if you don't get involved early. There are three different levels in this. You got the people that start in the beginning. Those were the people that started in 2009 when it opened. Those are the pioneers. Those people were the pioneers. They are billionaires now. Then you got the early adopters. That's me and you. Then you got the ones who will be using it. That'll be the ones we'll be using it as well. But when you're early adopter, it's kind of like getting an Apple early on, right? Okay, you own a piece of everything. I mean, you own a piece of the company and the brand. But as people start to buy more iPhones and Apple does its thing, or Tesla, as they bring out new technologies, you reap the benefit of that because you were an early adopter. Sorry about that, y'all. I'm under the weather. But okay, and then, but Satoshi Nakamoto is the creator. We don't know who that is. That could be the government. They say it's somebody over in China. A 35-year-old dude started it 16 years ago. That's what they say. We don't know. And that's also a good thing because, again, the guy who got caught up, the astronaut who was hugged up with his mistress at the Coldplay show, if he was, depending on what company he owns or runs, that could affect the stock price, which can affect your bottom line. So you don't want to have a face there that you can that you can say that person messed up and now the company loses value. We don't want that. Because one thing that humans are going to do is mess up. And we don't want that to affect the price. So knowing the creator could hurt us. Also, now the downside of that is, who do you blame if something goes wrong? Well, you blame us because it's a peer-to-peer platform. We're the ones who make the decisions on it. It's an open source platform. There is no creator. I mean, there's no board. But Satoshi Nakamoto is supposed to be the one who created it. Number 3, over 3 million Bitcoin are gone forever. Because Bitcoin is digital and only accessible through private keys, losing your password means that nobody can retrieve it. Not even Bitcoin developers, researchers, nobody. It's gone. So it's an estimated 3.4 million Bitcoin that are lost forever. There was a guy who was trying to find his his flash drive that he threw in the garbage by mistake, and it was in a landfill. It had 8,000 Bitcoin on it. That's over $1 billion. Sorry about that, y'all. But that's over $1 billion, and it's gone forever. He couldn't find it, so he gave it up. So yes, 300 Bitcoin is gone forever. And that's something you need to know because, okay, it's 21 million that'll be brought to available to us. But if that's 21 million, but if 4 million are already gone, we don't even get that many. So it's actually more scarce than what you think. You think that it's 21 million, 19 million have already been mined, but 4 million of those are lost. So it's only 1 million left. That's why I'm doing this. Because I don't know, the news not gonna talk about it because they haven't even adopted it 100% yet. But your boy E gonna talk about it. Yep. I'm gonna tell y'all about it. If the party banging, I'm gonna tell you, you need to go. But guess what? If it looked like it could be some drama, I'm gonna tell you that too. And with Bitcoin, I ain't found the drama, y'all. I haven't found the drama. That's the only reason I could even get on here every day and talk about it, because I ain't found the drama yet. Number 4, you can send millions for pennies. You know how you go to Western Union, you want to send some money. How much that costs? You want to send $100 at Western Union, it's still going to cost you about $5 or $10. There was a Bitcoin transaction in 2020 where somebody sent 500 million Bitcoin, and they just spent, I think they spent like $5 to send 500 million. Now compare that to regular banking. Come on, man. That would have cost so much money. And then Bitcoin does it in minutes, and it does it 24/7, and it also does it on Christmas and New Year's and your birthday. And no matter what time, you know, the market shut down at 4 o'clock. Bitcoin's still rolling. It's rolling right now. Like I just bought $25 randomly just now. Well, not randomly, that's what we're doing this month. But Bitcoin, you can always liquidate it and you can always buy it. So you can send it for nothing, for literally pennies. It's nothing like it, man. Number 5, it has no physical form. Like Bitcoin, I know we look at these coins when they post it on social media or on TV, they show a coin, but Bitcoin is not a coin. Bitcoin it only exists really on the blockchain. So it's in our mind, but it's represented as a coin, you know. So each coin is simply a record of transactions tied to an address. So you don't hold Bitcoin physically, you hold the private keys that control it. You don't hold Bitcoin physically, but you hold the private key to your wallet, which controls the Bitcoin. So it's not a thing. So that scares some people. But you got to think, on the internet, you can't spend your cash. I don't care how much you have. It's got to be converted into something digital. And guess who's the mammoth of digital money? Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the mammoth of, it's the OG. What's number 6? The supply is mathematically fixed. And what does that mean? Unlike money, we just talked about it. How much cash is physically in the world? Nobody knows. Well, I think the government would know how many they printed. But what I mean is it's not backed by nothing, so it's just paper. It's only what we believe it is. When enough people believe Bitcoin is what I believe it is, then it'll be the same value as $1. And then eventually you won't want physical dollars. I know that seems way off. And once that happens, that means the dollar is so weak. You know what I show people from time to time? Watch this. I should have had it ready, but I have a $100 trillion bill. Now you say, how do you have a $100 trillion bill? Well, it's Zimbabwe money. It's from Zimbabwe. And their money got so devalued when their government fell, until a loaf of bread was $500,000 or something like that, because the money was so weak. Our money is getting weaker. That's why things are getting more expensive. And I talked about that. Their money got so weak until you needed so much of it to buy something small, until they had to create bills that were really large. So I literally have a $100 trillion bill. Matter of fact, I want to show it to you. Hang on one second. I'm going to show it to you. Yep, there we go. You see that? $100 trillion. Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. Now, and that's a real bill. And look at those numbers down there. That is a real bill. But before anybody see this and get the troops ready to come and take it, it's not worth anything. This $100 trillion bill is worth literally about $40 on the internet. People kept them and they were selling them, and I wanted to buy one, but that's a $100 trillion bill. And it was necessary to have a $100 trillion bill because you needed so much money to buy things. And so when you see our bread at $3, at $2, you see the chips. Remember the chips we used to buy 2 for $1? No, 4 for $1. You used to get 4 of those little bags of Lay's for $1. Now you get 2. Eventually you only get 1. Then eventually they only had the big bags because it won't make sense to make the little bag. But once that's what's happening to our money. It's the inflation. They keep creating it so it's getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And I bought this bill so I could just remember where cash can go. We think this can't happen to us, and I ain't trying to scare nobody, but sometimes you just don't even know that it's possible. So, just pay attention. But when it comes to Bitcoin, the supply is mathematically fixed. It's 21 million Bitcoin. And the reason that they'll always be valuable is because you cannot create anymore. The system is not set up for no more than 21 million. And it's by now, I said over 19.7 million Bitcoin have been mined. There's 1.3 million left to enter circulation, but the last one won't be mined until 2,140. So let's keep going. Number 7, mining gets harder over time. I don't know if you ever heard, it's a term called the halving. Every 4 years, the reward for bringing a Bitcoin into existence gets cut in half. So you used to get 50 Bitcoin for bringing 1 Bitcoin to existence. Then it went to 25 4 years after that. So just think, when it started in 2009, if you brought a Bitcoin to life, you got 50 Bitcoin. So today, with Bitcoin at $100 and something thousand a piece, you got $5 million if you held on to it. Did I do my math right with that? Let me see, who in the house? Let me shout somebody out. Okay, ain't nobody in here. But anyway, shout out to everybody that come to the show, that stop in. I appreciate you. Any type of feedback helps when you're doing something creative like this. And we appreciate it. We definitely appreciate it. Okay, somebody did comment. Okay, Esper Alexander, shout out. That's my cuz. He said, what do I need to download on my phone to invest in Bitcoin? Most definitely, cuz I like to use Cash App. I like to use Cash App for one, because people already run a lot of money through Cash App. And you don't have to, going on these new platforms, you have to link your account to them, right? Most of them are reputable now because the government is getting involved. So it's not so much they can do to you. But if you already send money through Cash App, why not just use Cash App? You're already linked. You already trust them with your money. So that's one of the reasons I use Cash App. And it's simple. It's simple. And there's actually a Bitcoin class on your Cash App. But yes, shout out to Cuz, man, for coming on. Yep. And who else we got in the house? If y'all want to tap in for a minute, I'll shout you out. I appreciate y'all's support. Excuse my cold, but when you dedicated, you dedicated. I'm dedicated to doing this. So, but mining gets harder over time. Every 4 years, the reward for mining a new Bitcoin cuts in half. So we started with 50, you would get 50 Bitcoin. Then it went to 25. Then it went to, what's that, 14? What's half of 25? Whatever that is. And Bitcoin has been around for 16 years. So we've had 4 halvings. We just had one in 2024. The next one will be in 2028. And every 4 years, the value tends to just shoot up around right after the halving. A couple months after the halving, it goes up. So that's one of the reasons why we in a mad dash right now to accumulate as much as we can, because this next halving is going to be different. And a lot of people say that, but I'm saying that because we just had this Genius Act. We just had the Genius Act. We got all these institutions that's buying now. And when scarcity and demand meet, I talked about this, it's nothing else to do but make you more valuable. Nowhere else to go. It's nowhere else to go. And we still early. Only 3% of people in America or in the world even know or talk about Bitcoin. So what we doing right here, I'm telling you, I already know it's like, it's crazy because you talking about something that has proven over the past 16 years that it can 10, 20, 1,000x. And people still don't. It's just like, so I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I'm considered late, but not amongst my peer group, I don't think. It's something about us. I think the internet kind of spooks us in a way. So we'll probably be the last, not the last ones. The baby boomers will be the last. You know, my father and you know, his group. But the nerds and the young people were the ones to jump on first because they're not scared and they got time to recover if something go bad. But with this next halving coming in 2028, we need to be positioned. This thing is going to go from 100,000 to over $1 million for one. And you got to understand that you want to be a part of that. It sounds far-fetched, but I talked about it before. You got to be able to see around corners. The reason that it's certain things you have to be able to predict. You got to have emotional intelligence and you got to be able to predict what's going to happen. We cannot predict what Trump is going to do. He can't predict. Well, you know he's going to do what he says. So if he say it, he probably going to do it. We can't predict that. But we don't know. He's the first crypto president, the one that he signed all the bills in the law. So that was good. We may get a new president and they say, you know what, I don't trust it. We're gonna back out. But that don't change Bitcoin. Bitcoin was here before Trump. It don't matter about that. But if you can predict what's gonna happen, and Bitcoin is one of the things you can predict because of the way it's written. If you get a chance, go into what they call the Bitcoin white paper, and it'll tell you why it was created, what it's gonna do, when it's supposed to do it. It's all been written down. They say if you don't want people to know something, put it in a book. So that's up to us now. We're in the information age. We have to be diligent about it, or we're gonna, you either do what you need to do or you keep what you got. And if you satisfied with what you have, I'm gonna tell you, one thing things don't do though is they don't go straight. They tend to either dip or they tend to go up. And they only go up if you put effort in them. So if you think that you're just going to glide, guess what? Inflation going to keep going up. And what's going to happen is it's going to start going down. Because now they say $30 is the new poor, $30 an hour. That's the new poor. So, and if you one of my peers, you middle-aged now. So you got to figure it out. We can feel like, you see how fast we got 50. It was fast. But number 8, Bitcoin is actually traceable. It is traceable. You can trace every transaction that's ever been done on Bitcoin. Back in 2010, the first transaction was a pizza. It was somebody bought 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin back in it was May 22nd, 2010. His name was Laszlo Hines. He wasn't from the States, but he paid 10,000 for 2 pizzas. He said he went on the network. I think he went on one of the social media apps, and he said, "Man, I got a bunch of Bitcoin. Who would be willing to get me a pizza for it?" That was the first transaction. And today, that's well over $1 billion for those 2 pizzas. So, and it's going to keep going. Pay attention. Bitcoin's went up 100,000%. And now it dips. It's volatile. And it's volatile because, let's just say, so we're talking about this. So let's just say you do get gains in Bitcoin. Eventually you're going to want to turn those into something else. So let's just say you a beach house. You always wanted one. Now you got to convert that. If the owner won't take Bitcoin, you got to convert that money into cash, which is instant, by the way. It's instant. If you got $1 million Bitcoin, you can convert it into $1 million cash in your account instantly. So, and a lot of people do that. The ones that started 16 years ago, a lot of them are pulling some of their money out and enjoying it. So it dips. We just had somebody sell 80,000 Bitcoin. 80,000 Bitcoin was $9 billion. So it took $9 billion out of the market. And you notice that Bitcoin dropped about $9,000 that day. So it is volatile. But if you look at the graphs, it does this, but guess what it's doing? It's going up. It's going up. We on number 9, y'all. I ain't gonna keep y'all too much longer. I supposed to been done. I did my first show with no sound. I don't know how that happened, but I did the first show with no sound. Yeah, so number 9 was about the pizza. So I kind of went ahead of myself. And then number 10, last but not least, what is number 10? Bitcoin is more secure than your bank. Bitcoin has never been hacked. In a 16-year history, it's never been hacked. It's never been hacked. It's protected by thousands of miners around the world that work together to make sure everything that happens on it. So right now, I just bought 25 Bitcoin when I was doing the last show that y'all can hear me on. That transaction is now on the blockchain. All they know is somebody in Nashville, Tennessee bought 25 Bitcoin for such and such amount at what time. They don't know who I am and they don't know where I am, but it does tell you down to the state if I'm not mistaken. Or it might tell the IP address. I'm not sure about that because no, that wouldn't even be secure. That would be terrible actually if it tells you the IP address. But it has never been hacked. Only time that Bitcoin has been stolen, when you hear that online, that's when somebody gave up their seed phrase to somebody. So your seed phrase is what you use to, once you take so I just told Esper to go on, online and, go to Cash App. Now, when he goes to Cash App, he'll buy Bitcoin off the exchange. Once you accumulate enough on the exchange, you don't want to leave it on the exchange because the exchange is a third party. The exchange can be hacked. The exchange can go bankrupt. So you want to take your Bitcoin off of the exchange at some point and put it into cold storage, which is where you store it. And that's a cold storage wallet. And I showed that in another show that I did. But you want to put it into cold storage. And once it's in cold storage, just like the guy who lost his stuff on a hard drive, once it's in that cold storage, there's a 24-word seed phrase that you have to put in. And you usually copy it with your phone or something and copy and paste it. You usually do that because it's going to be so hard, but it's a seed phrase, 24 words. And that's how the hardware that's built in is going to ask you for those 24 words. And once you put those 24 words in, now whoever is there has access to your Bitcoin. So that's the only way that they can take it. It's never been hacked, but people have given their seed phrase to somebody or left their seed phrase somewhere on a computer and somebody saw it and took their Bitcoin. But if you want to take somebody's Bitcoin, you have to physically go and grab their hard drive. And then you got to know the seed phrase. You got to know the seed phrase. So, but think about your bank. How many times banks been hacked? Think about that. How many times a bank have been hacked? I ain't saying your money been stolen, but they done had data breaches. It happens a lot. So it's more secure than your bank. So that's the 10 things that people need to know about Bitcoin. And that should help you get a little more comfortable with what you're doing and want to do more research on it. I just was saying that I haven't found any drama in Bitcoin other than the few headlines where people did leave their seed phrase somewhere, or a guy actually just lost 7 Bitcoin. This was his life savings. And he lost it because he went on his cell phone. He wanted to take it off of his. He wanted to put it into. He wanted to use some of his money, so he went online on Apple, and Apple had a faulty app that they let get through their system. He's gonna try to sue him, but there's really no way to do it because it's still you made the decision to trust them, and I'm sure that's wrote into their terms and conditions. We reserve the right to not be responsible if you give somebody, even if they did get their app on our platform. It's going to go to litigation, and hopefully he gets some of his money back, but I don't know how he will, because when your Bitcoin is lost when it's lost, most times you never get it back. So you got to be very careful before you make a move. And that scares some people. And if that scares you, last but not least, if that scares you, you should look up something called EFTs. Is it ETF or is it EFT? Let me ask good old Chat GPT. Or let me ask somebody in my comments that might know. Yep, it's an ETF. So an ETF is where the bank buys Bitcoin and they hold it. Not the bank, but different companies. They own their own Bitcoin, and you can invest in them buying Bitcoin. So it's like a stock. And now and those are on the market. So those are on the S&P or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that's a lot safer, but you still don't own it. And the main basis of Bitcoin is that it makes you a sovereign individual. But if you put it on somebody else's platform and you invest in it, you're not sovereign. They own the Bitcoin. You're just investing in them as they invest. So Bitcoin is the first money that's yours. You know how you got a house and you got to pay taxes on it, but it's not yours. Stop paying the taxes, they take it. That's not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the only true sovereign money we've ever had. You know, gold was sovereign, but it was hard to hide, hard to carry. You couldn't cut it up. That's why they made gold coins and all that kind of stuff. So that's the 10 things, man. I just bought some Bitcoin. Make sure that y'all dollar cost averaging. I'll be back here tomorrow, probably at 12 o'clock, because I think that's my sweet spot. I've been on here 40 minutes, so I just spent over an hour and 20 minutes because I had my first show. I didn't have any sound, but that's how humans supposed to learn, by mistakes. Contrary to what they tell you, that's how we're supposed to learn, by making mistakes. So I'm cool. I found out what the problem was. But I appreciate y'all. I want y'all to go out, be great. Keep your head up. Say some good affirmations to yourself before you walk out the door so these suckers won't get you down and get you distracted. You know what God told you to do, and you know you can do it. So, but if you keep listening to these small-minded people that you got around you, sometimes you can forget your power. And that's why you need some good affirmations and you need some good people around you. Just check me out. Keep watching me, supporting me. I like to send the love back. I appreciate the support. I'm going to make sure I ain't doing this for fame, so you ain't got to worry about that. I'm doing this because I was led to do it. So it's a different vibe. And also I'm doing it so I can sell. So that's another story. But this Bitcoin thing is something that you need to make sure that you don't sleep on. Okay, Cuz said, what up? Appreciating the info. Oh yeah, most definitely. Most definitely, Bo. Man, I'm telling you, man. I think you already know. I'm beating a dead horse by telling you, but everything that I know, I'm going to share it. I appreciate the family checking in. If we ain't got the family, who do we got, y'all? If we ain't got the family, who do we have? So I appreciate the support. I appreciate the love. We're going to check out of here. I'm going to get my day started. Y'all get y'all day started. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow. Around the same time. Keep disrupting, y'all. Peace.